You paying taxes, I don't get no fee. Them coins stacking, I got chips on me. I got that digital gold. 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 I got that digital gold.
All right, welcome to you, me, and BTC. Another incredible episode on Your Liberty and Bitcoin podcast. Incredible because we have tonight joining us for the first half of our show, the one and only 88 Nate, who you know from Digital Gold. And as always, I'm joined here by Tim and Dan. How's it going, guys? Nate, Tim, and Dan, thanks so much for being here.
What's up?
Who's supposed to answer?
What's up?
So we, I just want to sort of dive right in. Anyone who, I mean, maybe you've been living under a rock and haven't heard the song yet or something. If not, you got a clip of it at the beginning there. But tell us, Nate, sort of like, tell us about your music, like who you grew up listening to, your influences. Tell us about what you do.
Local artists here in Las Vegas. It's not really a music scene out here, but you know, we do what we can. I grew up personally listening to Eminem. Eminem was always one of my favorites. Jay-Z. Who else? I would say Fabulous.
Okay.
You guys heard of Fabulous?
Yeah, I have. Well,
yeah.
Eminem and Jay-Z, they're you could say they're pretty rich. You think they're in the Bitcoin game at all?
I bet you Jay-Z is. I don't know about Eminem. I'm pretty sure Jay-Z probably is. Jay-Z is always, you know, up to date on all the new technological developments. Like, that's Jay.
Okay.
He's an old man, but I mean he stayed tuned in. So I'm pretty sure he is.
Who'd you so if you had a chance, and I mean I've got some questions, Dan and Tim hop in whenever, but if you could pick one person to feature in one of your new songs out of anyone, who would you pick? Whether the song was Bitcoin related or not, who would you pick?
Oh, right now, that's a tough one. Right now, I probably want to work with maybe Kendrick Lamar. Kendrick, you said one person, right?
Kendrick, or two. Yeah. I don't care. Yeah, true. I wouldn't be surprised. If he's in that Bitcoin game too. He's probably holding.
He probably is in the Bitcoin game. Yeah. You know, some of these rappers or these entertainers, like I've recently read, like they're accepting Monero for certain shit. Oh, can I cuss on here? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, go for it.
Hell yeah, dude. We do call it. Go for it.
Well, yeah. So some people are, you know, up on it. So I'm pretty sure.
Like most of the
I don't know
time,
if Kendrick is on it, but I don't know.
It seems like most of them, if they're good with their money, they probably at least have the idea to put it into other stuff. They might not like tweet about
exactly.
it. It doesn't make sense for them to tweet about it, but actually it might.
Right.
You jack the price up by a couple.
Well, what about freaking Kanye coin? That was a thing.
Oh yeah,
Was that really a coin?
Yeah. He did that. He tried to make
how
his
long did
coin.
that last? Is it still around?
What?
Well, actually, I forget.
Wow,
I feel
you
like
tried to make a coin?
He got pissed off. I think about it. Like,
yeah, you're right. I think someone else made Kanye coin,
he was like,
and then he like sued them or something. I don't know.
I believe, I don't know if it's true or not, but I believe it was another coin by a rapper. He basically came out and tried to, you know, I think it was a money grab. I'm not gonna say his name, but I think it was called the cream coin. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know.
True.
So what? Hey, 88 Nate. I want to know why Bitcoin? Like, rap is fun. I love rap. I love your music. That was great. But like, where did Bitcoin come into all this?
Bitcoin. I basically did that song raise awareness in the urban community, pretty much, like the black people, because we always so late on all the new technological developments. Like, so I wanted them to hear that and go, oh, okay, what is Bitcoin? Like, what is cryptocurrency? I'm relatively new myself to it. So like, like that song was basically an experience for me. Like my first time, invested in the cryptocurrency. I felt good about it. I was like, okay. And then I don't know if this is true or not, but I read an article and it was saying JP Morgan was saying that they were considering Bitcoin as like the new gold. So I just thought to myself, like, oh, that's like digital gold. Digital gold. Okay. So that's how the song came.
That's what I was gonna ask. I was wondering because like I don't like when people ask me like when I first got in, so I'm not gonna ask you. But you said you're relatively new. You still hit on like all the major coins, and you even got on BitConnect, and you got up to speed real quick,
man. I did my research, man. I just did my research. Like
that's true.
I know Ponzi scheme when I see one.
But maybe you or somebody tweeted about it though, and no Litecoin in there. You that one sort of didn't. I
didn't mention Litecoin. I should have mentioned Litecoin. I'm gonna do another record eventually, and I'll mention Litecoin. Yeah.
True. That's for the remix when you get Kendrick featured in there. He'll take Litecoin.
No. Get him on Rust Bits.
Yeah.
Get him on Rust Bits, Zach. I need you to take Rust Bits up.
True.
Well, hey, I know Zach hates it, and he won't ask when you got in, but I'm gonna go against the grain here. I want to know. No, you don't have to tell me when, but how? Like, how'd you hear about Bitcoin? Why was it interesting to you? What went down?
Dude, it's so funny. It's so funny. Bitcoin is like. It's like the regret of most people's lives. Like, because I heard about it in like 2011. Like some people I was, hanging around, they were telling me about it. And then I was like, nah, fuck out of here. That's a Ponzi scheme. Get out of here. I'm not putting any money into that shit. Lo and behold, I was wrong as fuck. So I got in basically like 2017, like close to almost like the middle of like last year, pretty much.
All right.
Put me on pretty much.
Still, you got in at a interesting time.
Like
you definitely saw some shit.
I get that you said it's like it beats people up. It's like their biggest regret. It's funny. I got a roommate who he was laughing at people when the price was like 300, and he's like, why would you buy at 300? Are you an idiot? So now he won't listen. He won't let me listen to Bitcoin podcasts when he's in the room because it just makes him upset to his stomach because he's not in it.
It pisses him off. Like, man, like so many people are pissed off. Like, it's crazy. Like, I'm pissed off from hearing people's stories. Like, honestly, like the one dude. Like, I don't know if that's true. I think it is true. Like, allegedly, he lost a hardware wallet or something like that, and he had a lot of Bitcoins on it. Petition the landfill to, so he can search the landfill for his shit.
But the city government wouldn't let him search the landfill. Or something. He was like $80 million, and they're like, nah, sorry.
Nah, I get pissed off when I hear stuff like that. Like, damn, man, like I really missed out.
Well, what do you? You have to like everybody who talks about Bitcoin gets asked. You have to get asked this at least a few times. What do you tell people when they ask you, like, well, is it a bubble or it's going to crash and I'll buy then, or like it has to go down at some, like, what do you tell people who say it's a bubble?
I don't think it's a bubble. It's crashed. It's crashed like what? How many times already? So many times, but it keeps coming back.
Yeah.
Keep coming back. So that's not a bubble to me. Not at all. Like, it's not a bubble. I don't think so.
True. Yeah. No, your Twitter feed
crashes and keep coming back. Like,
yeah. And we've talked about that before on this show where people love to call it a bubble now, but I've never heard of a bubble before that pops and then reinflates and pops and just all the time.
Yeah,
like
that's just something
new. Right. When a bubble pops, it pops, bro. So
yeah.
Well, hey, we got a question from the chat, and it plays into another clip I got queued up here. So this is from James Bond. He says BitConnect is a Ponzi. yeah. Well, he's here almost every week. Except he also asked why I'm back on the show. So screw you, James. But yeah, so he wants to know if BitConnect is a Ponzi. So I'm gonna roll one more clip here real quick.
Fuck the Fed, we just laughing at them cause they can't touch it. All this ripple, put a ripple in my central bank budget. Ponzi schemes, promising payoffs, turn me way off. We don't fuck with BitConnect, that's that Bernie Madoff, sucker.
All right, so yeah, BitConnect, Ripple, where's all that going down?
Because you have to.
Say it again.
Well, how's all this Ripple and BitConnect going down? Because you have people on Twitter saying Ripple's a Ponzi scheme too. Now, what's your take
Ripple,
on them?
Man, I honestly regret that line. I usually never regret my bars, but I regret that bar, like, for real. Ripple,
all right,
dude. Ripple is it's pretty much a central bank coin. That's how I feel now. Like, that's exactly how I feel. So, like, I kind of regret that line. Like, it's not what, let's say, it's not decentralized. Like, well, it's not.
Hey,
that's how
I might let you off the hook there, because you say you regret it because were you saying, was the song saying good stuff about Ripple?
It was saying good stuff about Ripple.
True.
All right, well, see, if it makes you feel any better, I thought Ripple putting ripples in whatever, I thought that was bad. Ripples sound bad to me.
Central bank or something right after that, but you might have been you might have been changing to something else. But it seemed like you were going after it too there, so I was there with you.
No, I was actually bigging it up. My bad. I was actually I meant to do it. That's what I meant to do, but now I kind of regret it because it's turned into a central bank coin, man. So maybe the bar is maybe. Yeah. Well, yeah. Think about how you want to now, like.
No, it's funny. When I first, like, these two were in it way before me. We all get one slip up or something. I've told before how I got scammed hard out of a few coins when I first got in this space. So if your worst mistake is going for Ripple or whatever, you're probably okay.
I mean, let's not front. It is probably a coin you should hodl, but I mean, it's just a central bank coin. Like, to be honest, like, it's getting away from what I feel Satoshi's vision was. So, like, that's what I'm that's
with
why
you
I
there.
don't really like. That's why I'm kind of like, fuck Ripple. Like,
True. Well, Tim, I mean, Dan and I probably don't disagree either, but I know Tim would be right there with you with "fuck the Fed." That's probably his favorite line of the whole song.
Both of them are bitches.
Fuck the Fed. I might do another song called "Fuck the Fed." To be honest, like, yeah,
dude, fuck the Fed and fuck Ripple.
Yeah, man.
Fuck the Fed's coin. No, Ripple's definitely a Fed con going on. Fuck them.
Yeah.
So
fucking.
It's funny. I wouldn't even say that the Fed had any hand in it. I think they literally, like, it was like real people that made it for the Fed. It's not like the Fed is like out to get us with Ripple. It's like people made Ripple and were like, oh, hey, this is great for all the banks.
See, this is what I think. I think somebody, I don't know if this is true, but you see, I read a lot, but I don't know if this is true. I think, the dude who created Ripple, he said, fuck y'all, you guys are turning this into a Fed coin, and he went and started another ICO or another coin. I think Stellar. I'm not sure if that's true. Is that true?
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah, see, so I fuck with Stellar. I don't fuck with Ripple. Like, I fuck with Stellar, like, because the dude who created Ripple created Stellar pretty much. I'll fuck with Stellar. Because he know what he's doing. He wants to decentralize. Like, so yeah. He's the same who created something, and and gave it to the owner of what's Mount Gox.
Oh yeah,
that's another Ponzi
yeah,
game.
we know
like
him.
Ponzi.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, man. So
no, I respect that. Well, I gotta ask you. I mean, ever since I first tweeted about it, and then we've been going off about it in the chat between the three of us. When the hell can we get these damn hoodies, man? Because I mean, everybody on Twitter wants one. I want to get one too. When can we get some?
Yeah, I know. We see the problem is what we working out is like how we can get people to pay in
crypto,
pretty much like crypto pretty much. That's what we're trying to work out. Like we don't want you to have to use your fiat currency, like. But I mean, that's what we're trying to figure out. So once we figure that out, then the hoodies, will.
Yeah, well, we got.
But if we don't figure it out, then you might have to just use your fiat.
there was someone in the chat before we even started saying that he was only here to find out how to get a hoodie. So hey, if you don't know right now, can you share?
Well, now man.
Can you share at least how people can follow you so they'll find out when there are hoodies?
Oh yeah, definitely. Twitter.com at the 88 Nate, Instagram at the 88 Nate, Facebook the 88 Nate. It's all the same handle. The 88 and 8.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. You got any more for us, Zach?
Yeah, so I did you touched on it earlier a little bit, and it's something that it's something that I think about a little bit. I guess it's sort of a more serious topic, but it's something I care about just in terms of talking about cryptocurrency. And we have everyone in this space in our different ways, whether we're writers or we host a podcast or developers or artists or whatever. We all sort of want to make the world a better place through this thing called Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies too. But so let me just toss a few facts out there. So CoinDesk says, according to some of their research, that people in Bitcoin, 90% of them are men. Obviously, and there's been articles on this, obviously you have to have some sort of technological know-how to even hear about it in the first place and use it. The Huffington Post wrote an article that called Bitcoin a toy for rich white men. So and people talk about this all the time, how I kind of want your opinion on it and what we can, I mean, for Christ's sake, the three of us that host this show, we're all white men. How do we but I'm serious. What's your opinion on the community or the crypto space as a whole? What do we do to fix it, make it more diverse, inclusive, and actually change the whole world, not just rich white men, essentially, if you get what I'm saying?
Well, first of all, it's not just a toy for rich white men. That's ridiculous. I'm not white or rich, so I mean, yeah. But pretty much, I think the way you bring more diversity to it is outlets, like you said, journalism. But you can't just pitch it to the urban. The kids have to get behind it too. If that's what they, because I think it's the future, to be honest. Using fucking US dollars or no, and the kids are already, so it's a digital world. The kids are just they're gonna want to use their phone to transfer money or whatever they got to do. It's a digital world. So I mean, to raise awareness, I guess I don't know. If I knew, I'm just trying to do my part to raise awareness. I don't know.
True.
No, I don't know. I mean, I guess you could. Yeah. If you got the mainstream artist behind it, it would take off easy. If 2 Chainz came out right now and said, "Oh yeah, I'm banking with Bitcoin," fuck, that shit would fucking blow up, bro.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I swear, music artists are the most influential. If Kanye came out right now and just did a song about Bitcoin or just had some bars about Bitcoin, everybody would be trying to get into Bitcoin. I'm telling you.
True.
How much do you think we have to pay him to do that? Because I mean, it's a thing possibly for how much we have to donate.
I probably have to pay him a lot of money to talk about Bitcoin. Yeah.
Yeah. True.
Unless it was something he was passionate about. Like, so, yeah.
True. Yeah. No, I appreciate that. I mean, yeah, we all do our part, I guess. And it's just kind of a slow process getting it.
Yeah, it's a slow. Bro, you got to think about you got to think about when the internet first came out. I don't remember when it first came out, 1995, 1994, something like that. Like, all people could do, I think, was email. Email. Nobody really cared about fucking email. And I mean, some people did, like, but now look at it. You could do, I'm talking to you right now on Google Hangout. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's just a slow process, man.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I agree. I just like, well, I don't know. We've all seen people in sort of rough conditions before. And like my heart sort of wants them to get in on this before it goes to $1 million and they're sort of priced out of it to some extent. Like it's not just like super cool tech. It's sort of like a personal thing because it can help so many people. But
especially people who are like where nowadays it is better because like what you're talking about back in the internet, it was just email and it did kind of build from there. But most people do have even in like a third world country, people have like in like Venezuela, people with like a phone using Bitcoin. So part of what Bitcoin does is so useful for people in a lower economic condition because it takes you out of the state one, which is built on kind of like holding people in debt, and it's kind of it ends up being a cycle, and it's a way for them to get out of that and finally break something like that, which like can literally change like generations of people.
Yes, exactly. That's what I'm saying. It takes you out of that centralized currency that like whatever your state or government, whatever, it takes you out of that, and allows you to just pretty much be free, pretty much.
Absolutely, just be free. And I like just thinking about like just this conversation. Like I'm no lie, every day I wake up and it just like gets me pumped because like there's so much to learn in the first place. I mean, like you got to read all the time to keep up with everything, and like people who've been in it since 2009 are still reading, and we're behind them. It's just like God, but there's so much potential and so much good that we can do. It's just like it gets you hyped. So and then your song comes around and just gets you double hyped. It's just like it's a good time.
See, I'm just trying to do my part, man, like to raise awareness about this, man. Definitely.
So when can we're at sort of the halfway point here. We gotta let you go, but I do want to ask, when can we expect part 2 or the remix or something for Digital Gold?
Yeah, whenever you go after Ripple.
Man, this cryptocurrency community like is really embracing me right now. I'm probably just might have to do another song, man. To be honest, like
hell yeah,
I'm thinking about it.
Well, see,
I'm thinking about it.
I don't know. Maybe you do know, but like I've been in it for a couple years, I guess, and everyone who's in it, we sort of have all these artists that like make gimmicky songs about Bitcoin and stuff that like are okay, I guess. But then you come along, you're just like, take this, motherfuckers. It's just like, all right, well, that's cool. So, yeah,
bring some flavor to it.
Yeah.
John's ukulele.
I'm not. Who?
No, I was talking back. I was talking.
We have a friend who makes music about Bitcoin sometimes, and it sucks too. So,
oh man, I don't want to shit on any of these Bitcoin.
No, we're just upset with him because he used to host the show till like episode 150, and then he just disappeared. And it's like, okay, thanks, man. Just anyway, we love him. We love him.
Yeah. Well, listen, everyone get on Twitter. He's on Facebook, on Instagram. I mean, you got to, not just because we're going to be waiting for the next track, but also because you're going to miss these hoodies when we can when we can buy them. The 88 and 8. Follow 88 Nate everywhere he is, which is pretty much everywhere. And much love to you, man. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. It's been a ton of fun.
Thank you, man. It was an honor. That was definitely an honor. I appreciate you all.
I appreciate you too, man. Have a good night. Have a good night.
All right, man. Thank you.
All righty. Well, we're gonna run. Oh, sorry. Okay. Well, you take it over now.
Well, that was fun. I'll just
in the chat. Someone in the chat is asking how to donate to the show. I was like, money.
Yeah. So there is an address at the end of all of our show notes, and that's the way. So you scroll down a bit. It says tips appreciated, Bitcoin address. That should be on, whether if you're on YouTube, it'll be there. If you're on SoundCloud, it'll be there. Spreaker, or of course on our own website, btc.com. That's the way to do it. Thanks a lot, Bill Anderson, for considering it. Means the world to us, and I can't thank you enough. I'll go ahead and paste this in the chat too, because you guys are amazing. And hey, the 88 Nate, that was fun. But we'll be back momentarily to talk some more about, some interview wrap up and move on to getting transactions to go through on the network and atomic swaps. So that's coming up momentarily. I'll ask Tim and Zach to mute themselves as usual, and we'll be back in just a second.
Get ready for Crypto Overload. We're making it easy to get into the game at America's Card Room with your favorite cryptocurrency. We are thrilled to announce that you can deposit and cash out using more than 60 different cryptocurrencies. We are the first poker site to offer this after already accepting Bitcoin from the beginning. Cryptocurrencies are the future. We can predict that playing real money poker will never be easier at americascardroom.com.
Alrighty, so that was fun. I saw some people on Twitter saying like, that's the best Bitcoin rap since Bitcoin Baron.
No, Bitcoin Baron was top.
Yeah, I didn't even know about it till this rap came out, and then I looked up Bitcoin Baron, and I'm like, holy frick, this is great. We love YT Cracker. We've met him before. But have you listened to it, Tim?
If I did. Who?
Or Whitey Cracker, I guess is the right way to say it. I don't know.
What did you Bitcoin Baron? No, I thought that was your name whenever you did the thing at first.
What?
Whenever
I'm going to play a clip of Bitcoin Baron. I'm just going to start in the middle because it is also freaking amazing. And this is, I forget if he says it YT Cracker or Whitey Cracker. But
this is an album.
Met him in DC.
Sorry.
I got to skip this ad first. Friggin' YouTube ad. Screw off.
All
right,
I haven't listened. I listened to Lure, or he has like a concept album. I listened to that one day. But that I like that. We didn't. Yeah, never mind. Play it. Sorry.
This is honestly just for fun. I'm just gonna pick a random clip because I like this song and just let it go for a couple seconds because it's just fun. I should unmute it first, so that's a good idea.
Keep becoming a threat. So you know rappers like to rock pools. I got fools who can't swim in, but I'm collecting a spice like a friend. So you fools get stepping and get to choosing your weapon because the definite roar of indefinite war is epic. I found a new way to debit the people. I generate an address, then I generate a sequel. I get medieval when I'm taking payment because I don't want the NSA all stuck up in my anus. Yeah, I'm a Bitcoin baron, I'm staring the status quo. Got that crypto going at that foul to blow. And the algorithm gon' get him until prison sentence on to prison. And that's a nerdy living. I'm a Bitcoin baron, I'm staring the status quo. Got that crypto going at that foul to blow. And the algorithm gon' get him until prison sentence on to prison. And that's a nerdy living. You know rappers like to sell drugs, but you do it on the streets and you did it in Google Buzz, Google Plus. There's a road made of silk.
All right, I like that line. You're deader than Google Buzz and Google Plus if you try to sell drugs on the street. So anyway, that was just for fun. What do you think, guys? Me and Tim got to talk over some of this transaction crap. Any closing thoughts on 88 Nate before we move on? Also in the chat, if you guys have any thoughts now or later, just drop them in the chat. We'll have a good time.
Yeah, just guys follow him, tweet him that you saw him here, and because it'll make us look better, make you guys look better. Just let him know that you liked what he did.
Yeah, I like that. Whenever Tim does a plug on the podcast, he always says, make sure you tweet him, let him know you came from us. That's a good, I like that Tim emphasizes that, because it does mean a lot if you just like follow someone and say, hey, saw you on YMB, it was great. It means a ton. So,
and you better believe we're going to be wearing those hoodies when they come out. Blockchains matter, people.
That's the only thing. And I was like, I can't wear that outside.
True.
People are like, what the fuck does that mean? I will get the shit beat out of me.
I wear
and I will deserve it. Looking like this, I can't make jokes like that in public.
You should have told Nate, dude, you gotta make a hoodie for white people. We can't wear that.
I'm wearing it to friggin'
I was gonna do it like whenever you said the thing about the four, like we're just three white dudes, but then I was like, I don't know where to come into this. Hey, racism.
Oh, jeez. All right, Tim. Go
for it. I was just gonna say it's a dope hoodie. I'll wear it.
Same. I'm wearing it to work.
I'll wear it.
Tim, what's wrong with this Bitcoin transaction? What the heck happened?
Basically, Daniel is trying to scam me out of money and making this whole big thing like it's Bitcoin being fucked up, but I know he's lying. But basically, it's about over a month ago now. Daniel tried to send me a transaction. It was on I have a couple different accounts on Mycelium, so I switched over to another one, wasn't looking at it, kind of just assumed it came in. Looked at it like a week later and was like, oh, this is still, I saw it pop up, still receiving. Sometimes that'll be left over from it being, and it syncs really quickly, but then it wasn't. And then every single time I would turn on my phone, turn on Mycelium, I would look at it and it would say unable to broadcast. And then it would switch and say it was trying to broadcast again at that very moment. And so far, Daniel has tried something that he can explain, and then today I tried. Was what we did? Is there a word for that other than just?
So there's first I tried a totally off-chain transaction accelerator, which literally all you would do. I didn't actually pay for it. I just submitted it to a miner for free, which is probably why it didn't work. But literally, the way a transaction accelerator works, you literally just give your transaction to a miner and pay them to confirm it. Like you pay them off chain. You pay them separately. You say, this is my transaction. Here's some extra money for you, whether it's with a credit card or Litecoin or Bitcoin Cash or whatever. And you pay them to confirm your transaction in the next block. Now, I should also mention before we go too far that Let's Talk Bitcoin did an amazing episode on a lot of these methods just a week or 2 or 3 ago. So look that up. I want to say it's called Today and Tomorrow. It's probably their most recent episode. But anyway, you'll find it. It's recent. Look at the show notes. So that's what we tried first, was a transaction accelerator. That did not work, probably because I tried the free version and it might not have even been a real. I don't know what happened. Then what we tried today was called it was called Child Pays for Parent, which means what you can do is basically create a child transaction. So I have coins, or Tim has coins that are unconfirmed. And what you can do is spend those unconfirmed coins and attach a high fee. So when the miner's looking at that, like, yes, the first transaction might have a low fee and they might ignore the first transaction. But what the miner says to himself, in the software, in the computer, what the computer says to itself is, hey, yeah, this first transaction has a low fee and it's not worth the space that it takes for me to put it into this block. But if I confirm that first transaction, that also will enable me to confirm the child transaction that comes from it, which has a larger fee. So, if both transactions are, just pick a number, say 50 kilobytes, the first one might have a low fee. The first transaction might have, let's say, 50 Satoshis. I'm sure these aren't quite accurate based on the current mempool, but let's just use these numbers. So if the first transaction is 50 kilobytes and has a 50 Satoshi fee, Okay, that's 1 Satoshi per kilobyte. However, if the child transaction is also 50 kilobytes, but has 500 Satoshis attached as a fee, all of a sudden, if you combine both transactions, your fee per kilobyte is the average of those two numbers. The average of one Satoshi and 50 and 110, whatever. It increases the fee they take the average. So point is, that's another option, is using child pays for parent is what it's called, where you create a child transaction and attach a high fee. But why didn't that work, Tim? Are you there?
Yeah.
Are you alive?
No, it came up because it just said that my wallet was out of sync and that the actually I could do it again and get the exact whatever it said, but I think I even texted to you that my wallet just wasn't syncing, and so it's basically just been dropped at this point, and the wallet's just trying to make me pay.
I have it here. It says what Tim tried to do was spend all of the coins that he had in mycelium to himself. He was spending them, but to himself. And that would be the child transaction. Because if he spent everything he had, then one of those, somewhere in there, are those unconfirmed coins that he would also be spending with a reasonable fee.
Yeah, before you do
and
it,
that would increase.
Fees you were spending are not, some fees you were spending are not fully confirmed. So it tells you that beforehand.
Right. It tells you they're unconfirmed so that you know you're spending a child transaction, so that you know that whatever fees you attach to this transaction will help out the unconfirmed transaction. But the error message from mycelium was, the transaction was rejected by the network. This indicates that your wallet is out of sync. Now, this is a bit of a guess, but my theory there is that what happened is my fee was so low. Sorry, Tim, I'm a cheapskate. But my fee was so low that the nodes, anyone out there connected to the Bitcoin network, they're not even keeping the unconfirmed transaction. And Tim was asking me about this right before we started the show, which is why I said we had to talk about it. Even though it's not in the show notes, I figured it'd be real important to clear this up on the air. My theory is that, like I said, the fee was so low that the nodes they're not even keeping track of the unconfirmed transaction. So when Tim tries to spend those unconfirmed coins, the nodes are like, where did you get these coins from? These coins were never sent to you. Like, what the heck are you doing? Because the fee was so low that none of the nodes even bother to keep it in their memory. And that's where we come to the mempool. The mempool is the memory pool, or really all it is just the data that all the nodes and miners are also nodes. It's the transactions that they just keep in their memory. And the reason that some transactions get kicked out is because, like, there's no such thing as unlimited memory on a computer or on a server or anything. Like, yeah, you could build up like a couple gigabytes of memory, but it's still not unlimited. So it's still eventually, if there's tons and tons and tons and tons of unconfirmed transactions, you're just going to be like, well, I'm not going to bother keeping track of all these because, these probably aren't going to confirm, especially these cheap ones. So why would I bother keeping them in my memory? And then it's not only about memory space, but it's about processing. Every time a transaction comes in, well, I'm not super technical on this, so don't quote me, but I'd imagine that every time a transaction comes in, you have to process it some. It takes up bandwidth to propagate the mempool, all that kind of stuff. And so, so a node, even though a computer might have 8, 12, 32 gigabytes of memory, the default settings for the mempool max out at, I want to say 300 or 500 megabytes. So anyway, I'm talking a lot, but that's really what it comes down to is The mempool is artificially kind of like you just set a cap just because it's software. You don't want this piece of software, a Bitcoin node, taking up all your memory and crashing your computer or anything. It's just a normal, reasonable limit to the mempool. But then, if there's more transactions than can fit in your mempool, you start kicking out the cheap ones. So I think that my transaction to Tim got kicked out of some of the mempools because you can change that setting. So some people might keep a transaction and some people might not. But I think it got kicked out of some of the mempools so that when Tim submitted that transaction, the miners were like, and the nodes, they were like, well, where did you get these coins from? We got rid of this transaction. We never saw it. So how are you trying to spend these coins? Nope, sorry, you can't do that. So that's my theory. Just there it is. I talk a lot right there. So. What'd you say, Tim?
It doesn't feel like paying me.
Well, yeah, that's Tim's theory.
He's a Bitcoin mastermind.
I can successfully defend Tim's argument there because I told him like 3 days ago I'd send him another payment, and he still never sent me an address. So whatever Tim says is totally.
I thought you didn't. I do not remember you saying that. You may have, but I do not remember reading that.
I said it twice. Like 3 days ago, I tried to explain like, oh, just send me another payment, and if this one goes through, we'll just credit it to what I owe you or whatever. And then just like earlier today, I was like, hey, by the way, I'm still willing to send another payment, just so you know. And you still never sent me an address.
You were talking about I just need to take my treasure. I have it locked up. I just need to take it back out and put it. Like, I'm just being dumb. I just don't think about it whenever I do come back, and I'm like, I should do that. It was just because that was the SegWit address idea.
Well, it doesn't even have to be SegWit, but that would be nice, because that's the other thing. They talked about this a lot in that Let's Talk Bitcoin episode. That's SegWit addresses are given a discount on transactions, so that can help too.
Wait,
coming at me.
I'm scrolling. Is James Bond? Are you still with us tonight? I'm scrolling back through this chat while you guys were talking about transactions. And James Bond said, so we were talking about how you can contribute. And James Bond said, Zach, I'm a fartist. How can I contribute?
Oh yeah.
Well, James Bond, I'd say the less you contribute, the better if you're a fartist. So probably just stick a cork in it or something, and
quit farting everywhere.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry. I
don't know where he was going with that, but hey, I do want to catch up a little bit on the chat. Jordan Ale said $40 fees can suck it, and he's right. It sucks when you send a transaction without SegWit, without child pays for parent, without replace by fee, without any of that stuff. It sucks. You're right. When you have to spend $40. And I ran into that over Christmas when I was trying to pay for Christmas presents on purse.io, and I couldn't get a deposit to go through. Now, Tim, I will add.
Well, sorry. Can I add something on SegWit real quick?
Yep.
Oh, so, this is actually because Jordan Ale commented, how does one use SegWit? And I was just asked this the other day, actually, by someone who, they were like, I hear I don't have to pay as high fees with SegWit, but how do, SegWit's not in the app store is essentially what they said. Like, they looked for it, and they're like, how do I use SegWit? So I feel like that'd be useful to explain. Do you want?
That's actually kind of exactly what I was going to say, Tim. So that's the problem with Mycelium. It all comes down to the wallet that you're using. The wallet has to support X, Y, or Z features, and Mycelium does not. It used to be an awesome wallet, and I feel bad. Same thing with Airbits. Like, I used to love Airbits. I still love a lot of their security features, but I'm sorry, they're just obsolete now. They don't have replace by fee. They don't have child pays for parent. Or I guess you could do that. They don't have it like built in, but you could, you could still spend all your coin and try to make that happen. But yeah, and they don't have SegWit. So I'm sorry, I love Airbits. We've had them on the show before, but it's fallen behind. So that's actually on my to-do list, is to explore all these other wallets and try to figure out how the heck I get all of these features. What I heard on Let's Talk Bitcoin, so I'm assuming it's true, is that if you're on a PC, the best wallets would be Electrum. That's my understanding that Electrum is pretty much the go-to. It has every feature you can imagine. So there's Electrum if you want to do that. Bitcoin Core is also fairly robust on PC. However, it does some of the features they're not built into the graphical interface. They require you to use the command line. So that's probably not worth it for 99% of people. So yeah, my understanding is that on PC the best option is Electrum. There is also an Android version of Electrum, but they didn't really mention that, and so I'm not going to promise that it has all the same features. What I heard basically in that episode was that for Android, the most featureful wallet is Samurai, which I've never even heard of until this episode, but that, like I said, that's on my to-do list to try it because it sounds like it's got all these features. It allows you to select which coins you're going to spend. It allows you to replace by fee, which we didn't even talk about today, but that's really where you can just like overwrite a transaction with a similar transaction, but a higher fee. So that can be done in some wallets. And I believe Samurai supports SegWit. The other one for PC is Trezor. Trezor does support SegWit. And so there's that. So
Yeah,
that's the answer, Zach. It all comes down to the wallet.
Yeah. I don't use Android, so I don't have Samurai. But I remember what's his name, Jameson Lopp, tweeting about Samurai back when there was like this whole fork and SegWit and like stuff drama started breaking out, and he loves it. Like, so that's where I first heard about it. I think people still are sort of like championing it as some of the best. Since, like you mentioned, like Airbits and a couple of these others that used to be pretty good,
right,
are sort of falling behind or not really sticking with.
Yeah.
One
of the things, on a related note, one of the things that's hard to deal with Bitcoin in general is that when you switch wallets, it's still fairly important to keep track of your old seeds, your old keys. What are different wallets do it differently? Some of them have 12-word phrases, but whatever. It's still tempting and probably pretty important to keep track of your old seeds, and that can build up over time when you start switching around wallets. And you're like, well, you never know if someone might intentionally or unintentionally send coins to my old Airbits wallet, so you want to try to keep those keys around or those seeds, and it just becomes a lot to keep track of. And then the worst part is when all these forks come in. And it's like, oh, geez, do I have coins here? Like, when did it split? Did it split before or after I switched wallets? Do I have to look at those seeds? Do I have to look at these seeds? And that's, figuring out where it is hard enough before you even get involved with actually redeeming it and actually dumping it. So I haven't actually dealt with it much recently. I've just thought about it a lot recently and how much it sucks. I'm like, I have no idea where all my Bitcoin gold is, I still have some Bitcoin Cash that I can't get a hold of, and not even to mention Bitcoin Candy and freaking whatever else. I don't even know. Friggin' Bitcore. Jeez, it's everywhere, and I can't keep track of it, so screw that. But, hey, guys.
What?
Oh, go ahead.
Well, someone in the chat asked you about Apple.
Apple what?
About Apple, best apps for Apple people, and I didn't know.
I haven't touched Apple in years.
I use Apple. Yeah, well, it's not the best app because, for different reasons that we don't necessarily have to go into in detail. But what I use right now, just for like what you call petty cash, I guess, is the blockchain.info app. Like, I've had it for a while. I don't store anything on Coinbase or Poloniex or any exchange, so I just dump it all on blockchain, which I like it works well, and then the rest of it I just have on hardware and paper wallets. So if you have an iOS phone, or if you have something better, drop it in the chat, but I've just always used blockchain.
Hey, yeah, speaking of Poloniex, that reminds me, the topic we were supposed to do for the second half of the show was atomic swaps. We're running out of time. I'm not going to bother I'm not going to bother trying to get to that today. I'm also not going to bother changing the show notes because I just don't have time for that. But the one thing I will mention, speaking of Poloniex, is that atomic swaps, which are just, instant cryptographically secure, blockchain-based methods for trading from one blockchain to another. That's what an atomic swap is. The only point I want to make is that I cannot freaking wait for these to happen because I've been screwed over too many times by Shapeshift and Changelly and Poloniex. I'm still waiting for a lot of money to get deposited into Poloniex, and it just it's on the blockchain, they have it, but on my Poloniex account, they're I don't know where it is. So I'm tired of exchanges. I'm tired of even crypto only like altcoin exchanges like Shapeshift. Like they're a great idea. I love them really. But still, that just too many mistakes. They're too expensive now with these blockchain fees.
There's no benefit to it. So
no, there is. I mean, they're fairly trustworthy just because they're so high profile, and it does let you get from Litecoin to Bitcoin Cash or whatever the heck you may have. It lets you get from one to the other without having to turn over your identity to an exchange. So there's tons of value there, and I'm sure I'm still going to use some of them now and then. The problem is even though that's great, I still would rather have atomic swaps because then I don't have to trust anyone.
Oh yeah. On that note, here, Dan, can you drop this in the chat? Jameson tweeted earlier today, swapready.net is a great site that you can track the progress of atomic swap engineering. And he posted a couple graphics. So, I mean, if you don't know what atomic swaps are, or you're not like pumped about them, you will be when they come out. And somebody tweeted about like they're making a joke, but they said once you go Lightning Network, you never go back on chain or something because it's just so fast and quick. And atomic swaps will be very similar. Like given all this stuff, and of course, like I've said before, I'm not super technically knowledgeable, but I'm working on it a little bit. But people who say, "Oh, Bitcoin won't scale," just have another thing coming because there are so many people working on so many awesome solutions that like Bitcoin Cash is going to get blown away. All these people who hate Bitcoin because it can't scale, they say, are going to get blown away. It's just like buckle up because we're in for a ride.
Oh, definitely. So, hey guys, we're coming up close on the hour here. I'm ready to wrap up because I try not to go over. So we're going to skip advice of the week because I still have one or two, actually a couple things in the chat that I want to just quickly gloss over. First of all, Jordan Ale has been in the chat with us all night, and it just clicked when he made a comment about, he said that he was still trying to deal with 400-something affiliate accounts from the Enjoy days. And I thought for a second, the Enjoy days? What the heck are those? I realized Jordan Ale is the creator of, he was the creator of enjoybitcoins.com. And I remembered we've been tweeting a bit lately, and I don't think he owns it anymore. He let it go, and I think he regrets that. But anyway, so thanks for jumping in the chat there, Jordan Ale. Thanks for all your interesting input. He says Electrum is sick, in a good way, I'm assuming. BitPay is simple. Exodus is best interface, but it's closed source. Koinomi for Android is great. I've used that before. It does work out. And what else we got here? They talked about the decentralized exchange BISC and BitSquare, and I believe there's one called 0x that we talked about on the show a while back. So those are all, I don't know many details, but if you're interested, Google those and learn more. I definitely love, speaking of exchanges, my favorite decentralized exchange that has actually been around for years is the Counterparty platform in their exchange, which is I got this big dragon poster behind me. That's from Spells of Genesis, which is a blockchain based card game. For years already, you've been able to trade these cards for bit crystals or whatever, for Bitcoin or any other asset on their platform. You could even trade one card for another on these markets. And so that just kudos to them for having been around for so long. Yeah, it's a bit expensive because you have to pay the transaction fees to get onto the blockchain, but I still use them all the time. I love them. So check out Counterparty, check out their decentralized exchange, check out Spells of Genesis, and the other one we've been having fun with recently is Space Pirate. So Google that too if you want to. I'm ready to wrap up, guys. Any final thoughts? Like I said, we're skipping advice of the week. I do want to play another clip from Bitcoin Baron as we close. It's going to be random again, but just for fun. I like listening to it. But before we get there, any final thoughts?
Yeah, make rap music and promote Bitcoin, or like tell people about it. I guess if you have a creative artistic thing, it kind of behooves you, if that even works here, to I don't know, maybe put it out there at least. That like you can use it for some kind of inspiration without just getting hack about it, which is what I think Zach mentioned before. But let things inspire you, I guess, from anything. Yeah,
I'm all for that. And Nate, thanks again to 88 Nate. Go ahead, Zach.
Oh, hell yeah. Thanks so much, Nate. My advice is, I was having fun scrolling through it earlier. You should go follow or at least read the KFC Canada Twitter feed, because they went on a roll earlier just blasting about, like, they're huge Bitcoin fans apparently. They were live streaming the Bitcoin price on a chicken fingers bowl or something. And they said, Satoshi, if you're out there, your first chicken fingers bucket is on us.
Shit. I want to. I'll buy your chicken fingers, Satoshi.
Stick to the original recipes. Don't accept alt recipes. It's just like, it's all funny. So KFC_Canada if you want a good laugh. That's my advice for your whole week.
All right. Peace out, guys. It's been a blast. We'll see you Monday with another recorded episode. It could be an interview. Who knows what? It'll be a blast, that I can promise you. And we'll be back here next Thursday, same time, same place, 9 to 10 p.m. Eastern at meandbtc.com/live. If you want to get to this episode specifically for links and the poll, we do have a Twitter poll that I didn't even get to mention today, but it's all about the 88 Nate rap. So check that out. That is all at meandbtc.com/E218 for 218.
Thanks,
meandbtc.com/E218. Peace out, guys. Here's another clip, and then I'm just gonna cut off the stream somewhere in the middle of this music. So
you hustle out a chemical rush, avoiding the brush with the law. Can stop them all because they got it anonymous. The ones that play it stupid, they get thrown in the bottomless pit. Don't even know how to cut up them layers of the onion. So let the players play pumpkin, hash function, pumping and dumping, manipulate the market, flooded from the darknet, flooded from the deep web, keep it a secret. Every exchange got the nerdy brains trading on the frequent. Wonder where the leak went. They left the cement looking for the promised land. All not beaming. Brother Scotty, this the future decentralized swag. You can work in your laptop bag. I'm a Bitcoin baron, I'm staring the status quo. Got that crypto going at that foul upload. And the algorithm gon' get him until prison send us all to prison. And that's a nerdy living. I'm a Bitcoin baron, I'm staring the status quo. Got that crypto going at that foul upload. And the algorithm gon' get him until prison send us all to prison. And that's a nerdy living. You know rappers can't pay bills.